what's up, everybody? My name's Brad. I'm with Wooten CPA, and my goal here is to help bring peace to your finance and tax responsibilities. Today, we are talking about tax return extensions, not Legos. We've got Legos everywhere, but we're not talking about Legos. The reason why we have Legos everywhere and everyone is home on Friday is because of what's going on right now. All the schools are out, and our school just announced that we're out until April 15th. April 15th was the tax return due date. Always has been. Usually is. This year, though, it's not. We're going to talk about that as well in this video. So what's the deal with tax return extensions? Everyone knows that you can extend your tax return. The question is, what does that mean? All right, so if you file an extension for your tax return, do you get an extension of time to pay, an extension of time to file, or both? Pay. Both. Both. All right. We think that we get an extension of time to pay and to file, or just to pay. Now, when you do a tax return extension, it's very simple to do. It's one page. You basically just have to fill out your name, address, what you think you'll owe in taxes, what your withholding was, and if there's a balance due or a refund due. You mail that in, and you get a 6-month extension of time to file. You do not get an extension of time to pay. If your tax return, if your tax liability is going to be less than your withholding, it means that you're going to be due a refund. And if you have to file an extension, you get an extension, and you don't have to file for 6 months after April 15th. So you get until October 15th to file your tax return. Now, if you think that your withholding is going to be less than your taxes due and that you will owe a balance, you will owe a tax payment when you file your tax return, you do not get an extension of time to pay. You still have to pay the balance due by April 15th. If you don't, there's penalties and interest for late payment. Now, there's also a little bit more in this. Do you think you owe all of your taxes for 2019? Do you think you owe them evenly throughout 2019, or do you owe them by the tax deadline of April 15th the next year? You don't know? Doesn't know. By the deadline of April 15th. By the deadline. What? By the deadline. Yeah, all right. Everyone thinks by the deadline. Wrong. You owe your taxes evenly throughout the tax year. So your taxes for 2019 should have been paid evenly throughout 2019. Now, if you have a W-2 job, like a lot of people, your taxes are withheld from your paycheck, and so they are paid evenly throughout the year. If you're self-employed, though, you owe your taxes on a quarterly basis. So the first quarter ends in March. Your first quarterly tax payment is due April 15th. And so there are quarterly payments due, with the last one being due January 15th. So even if you pay your taxes by April 15th, whether you get an extension or not, you still could have late payment penalties and interest because if you didn't make your payments evenly throughout 2019. So you cannot wait and pay all of your taxes. Now, there is some qualifications there. You basically owe 90% of your current year tax liability evenly throughout the year, or 100% of your prior year tax liability. So there's other ways to avoid a little bit of penalties and interest there. Now, this year we have something crazy going on. Everyone is at home. We're quarantined. We're social distancing. And the IRS earlier this week said that they were going to give everyone an extension of time to pay. Is a normal extension of time to pay? No, we just learned a normal extension is an extension of time to file. But we now have, in 2020, we have an extension of time to pay. If you think you're going to owe taxes when you file your tax return, you do not have to pay that extra payment by April 15th. You get until July 15th. That's a 3-month extension. April, May, June, July. Yeah, 3-month extension. Now, they did not originally give you an extension of time to file. So this was actually the exact opposite. A little bit quieter. This was actually the exact opposite of what typically happens. They extended your time to pay. Now, it wasn't a big deal, honestly. They were saying, oh, we need to extend the deadline, and I wasn't really worried about it because, again, you get an automatic 6-month extension if you just send in one sheet of paper, and then you have until October 15th to file. So it really wasn't going to be that big of a deal to get extensions for time to file. But I guess if you're filling these out for a lot of people, that could take a little bit of time. But just saw this morning, they also have extended the time to file. So basically, they've essentially just moved tax day in 2020 from April 15th to July 15th. So you get an extra 3 months of tax season. I don't know, for those of us who are tax preparers, I'm not sure if that's great or bad. Usually, we're swamped this time of year because we're trying to fit everything in between when you get your W-2 and April 15th. Gives us an extra 3 months. Maybe it'll just stay busy that long, who knows, but or probably what will happen is people end up waiting, and instead of March, April being swamped, June, July will be swamped right in the middle of summertime. And so we've got basically moving tax date back from April 15th to July 15th. Now, should you wait until July 15th to file your tax return?
No. Go to that first.
No?
No.
No? Why not?
Because it's
you can, but
You don't have to, but you can.
Yeah.
All right. So if you
I'll do it.
if you owe taxes, should you wait till July 15th?
No.
Yeah. Let's wait. Let's just keep that money and pay the government later.
No.
If you're going to get a refund, do you want to wait till July 15th? You want to go ahead and file right now. The majority of Americans get refunds. You're probably due a refund. Now, if you've already filed, this doesn't affect you at all. But if you haven't filed yet, you probably want to, well, you definitely want to go ahead. Bring your stuff in, make an appointment. Let's see if you're due a refund or if you're going to owe taxes. If you're going to owe taxes, you get until July 15th to pay that. If you're due a refund, let's file that return, get that money back. You want that money. We want that money now because we're going to need it. People are out of work. People are having to stay home in some industries. Let's file your tax return. Let's get your refund. Don't let the government hang on to it until July 15th. Let's go ahead and file. Get that. So there you have it. Moving tax day back from April 15th to July 15th. It's different than usual. Usually you get an extension of time to file, but not an extension of time to pay. This year, you get both an extension of time to file and pay to July 15th. We're basically just moving the deadline to July 15th. Now, if you file for a normal 6-month extension of time to file, I do not know if that 6-month extension will be from July 15th plus 6 months, or if it will be from the original April 15th plus 6 months, which is your normal October deadline. Not sure. Could potentially be from July if you file for a 6-month extension of time to file this year, which would push you into January 15th of 2021. Could be the latest you might be able to actually file your tax return for 2019. That's pretty crazy. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it could be. Again, if you're doing a refund, let's go ahead and file and get that money back. Anything else you guys want to say?
Legos.
What do you want to say about Legos?
Legos fun.
Legos are fun. We've got a lot of Legos.
Legos.